Let me ask you something powerful. Have you ever met someone who walks through chaos like it's a calm summer breeze? Someone who doesn't flinch when criticized, doesn't tremble when life throws storms, and somehow always seems in control. Emotional control is one of the most underrated powers a human being can ever develop. It's not something you can see, but you can feel it in those who possess it. You can recognize it in the calm tone of a leader when everyone else is panicking, in the steady hands of a person under pressure, in the quiet confidence of someone who refuses to be dragged into emotional chaos. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings, it's about mastering your response. It's about learning that no one and nothing deserves the privilege of controlling how you feel. When life throws its usual storms at you, failure, betrayal, rejection, loss, it's easy to react impulsively. Anger feels natural, fear feels justified, frustration feels necessary. But if you always allow your emotions to lead, they will lead you into destruction. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel those emotions, it means you don't let them decide for you. The strongest people in the world are not those who never feel pain or disappointment. They are the ones who feel deeply but think clearly. They understand that their reactions determine their outcomes, and so they choose their reactions with wisdom, not impulse. Think about how many situations in life are ruined simply because people can't control their emotions. A person says something hurtful in anger and destroys years of trust. Someone gives up on a dream because of temporary frustration. A small problem turns into a war because neither side can keep calm. Emotional control would have saved them all. It is the silent skill that turns ordinary individuals into extraordinary ones. When you learn to control your emotions, you start to control your world. Because life will always test you, will test your patience with delays, your peace with criticism, and your faith with failure. And every time it does, you have two options: react or respond. Reaction is instinct. It's emotional, raw, and usually destructive. Response is intentional. It's measured, calm, and intelligent. The gap between reacting and responding is where your power lives. The truth is, emotions are energy. Anger, sadness, excitement, joy, all are powerful forms of energy. The problem begins when we let negative energy dominate our decisions. When you're angry, you lose perspective. When you're afraid, you lose opportunity. When you're desperate, you lose dignity. But when you are calm, you gain control. Control of your focus, your actions, your destiny. You start to see things as they are, not as your emotions exaggerate them to be. Emotional control also builds respect. Have you noticed that people naturally admire the calm one in the room? When everyone else is losing their temper and you're standing still, it commands attention. It's because calmness radiates strength. People may not say it, but they feel it. The one who stays centered when chaos hits is the one others begin to trust, follow, and learn from. It's not because they're emotionless, it's because they're emotionally intelligent. But make no mistake, emotional control takes discipline. It requires awareness. It means you must learn to pause before reacting. It means you must train your mind to think even when your heart is racing. The pause between stimulus and response, that tiny space, is where maturity is born. In that space, you remind yourself, I am in control of me. No one can make you angry unless you give them permission. No event can break you unless you surrender to it. And no failure can define you unless you accept it as truth. Imagine how powerful your life could become if you learned to stay calm when everything around you is falling apart. Imagine being able to smile through criticism, to stay focused through disappointment, to stand tall through rejection. That is not fantasy, it's mastery. It's the reward of emotional control. It doesn't mean you're numb, it means you're wise. It means you understand that every second you waste on anger or fear is a second stolen from your peace and progress. The person who controls their emotions becomes unstoppable, because nothing external can shake them. People can insult them, situations can challenge them, losses can test them, but they remain unshaken. Their inner world becomes so steady that the outer world loses its power over them. That's when you truly begin to live freely. So learn to be calm in the storm. Learn to breathe when your emotions want you to scream. Learn to walk away when your pride wants you to fight. Because that calmness, that pause, that quiet strength is your real power. The one who masters their emotions masters their life. Emotional control is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength a human can ever achieve. There is a kind of confidence that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, and doesn't need to prove itself. It's quiet, steady, and powerful. It's the kind of confidence that comes from silence. Silence is not emptiness, it's strength contained. It's the ability to let your presence, your actions, and your energy speak louder than your words ever could. When you master silence, you master influence. Because silence, when used with awareness, becomes a language of power, wisdom, and control. In today's world, people are addicted to noise. Everyone wants to talk, argue, explain, and defend. Everyone feels the need to prove that they're right, that they're strong, that they matter. But confidence doesn't seek validation. It radiates it. The most confident people don't waste energy convincing others of their worth. They simply live it. They know that words may impress for a moment, but calm composure impresses for a lifetime. Silence is misunderstood by the weak. To them, silence looks like surrender. To the wise, silence is dominance. It's the quiet assurance that says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it. When you stay silent in the face of provocation, you're not losing the argument. You're choosing peace over ego. And that choice separates the powerful from the powerless. Because ego screams, but confidence whispers. Think about the most respected people you've ever met or observed. They don't rush to respond. They listen more than they speak. When they do speak, their words carry weight because they've been filtered through thought. That's the secret of silence. It refines your message. It turns noise into meaning. And in a noisy world, meaning is rare. Silence also intimidates negativity. When someone attacks you verbally and you refuse to engage, it confuses them. They expect a reaction, an argument, an emotional explosion. But when you stay calm and quiet, it sends a powerful signal. You can't control me. Silence disarms those who thrive on drama because it denies them attention, their favorite fuel. It's your shield against manipulation and chaos. But silence isn't just external, it's also internal. Inner silence is the ability to quiet the mind when everything around you is loud. It's the stillness that allows you to think clearly, to see beyond emotions, and to make wise decisions. When you're silent inside, you become unshakable outside. You stop chasing approval and start creating peace. That's where confidence grows, from inner stillness, not outer noise. Confidence doesn't need constant explanation. It's seen in your posture, your eyes, your actions. When you walk into a room and stay silent, people still notice you, not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. That quiet energy, that calm assurance, that silent strength, it speaks volumes. It says, I'm grounded. I know my worth. I don't need your validation. Silence also teaches patience. When you stay silent, you give yourself time to observe, to understand, and to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. It allows you to gather information others miss because they're too busy talking. Silence sharpens perception. It trains you to listen deeply, not just to words, but to tone, intention, and energy. Through silence, you begin to see the truth that lies beyond conversation. There's a reason ancient wisdom and great leaders throughout history have valued silence. The philosopher listens before speaking. The wise man watches before judging. The strong one waits before acting. Silence gives space for clarity, and clarity creates confidence. When you're confident, you don't fear silence, you use it. Because you know that words spoken in calm are far more powerful than words spoken in haste. People often mistake silence for weakness, but those who truly understand life know that silence is control. It's the control over yourself, your tongue, your temper, your energy. It's the ability to say, I could respond, but I choose not to. That choice comes from power, not fear. It's a quiet declaration that you refuse to be pulled into emotional noise. Imagine how your relationships, work, and daily life would change if you mastered this. When someone criticizes you, instead of defending yourself instantly, you stay silent and let your results speak. When someone tries to provoke you, you stay calm and let their frustration reveal their character. When life gets noisy, you center yourself in silence and let peace guide your next move. That's not weakness, it's wisdom in action. Silence also makes your voice more valuable. When you rarely speak, people listen. When you do, your words gain meaning because they're not wasted. Every sentence carries intention. Every pause carries presence. That's what true confidence looks like. It doesn't compete for attention. It commands it. So learn to value silence. Let it become your armor and your ally. Use it to protect your peace, to gather strength, and to express confidence without saying a word. Remember, storms make noise, but calm seas hold power. The one who can remain silent in the middle of chaos doesn't lose control. They prove they already have it. In the end, silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of self-control. It's the mark of someone who knows their value, trusts their path, and refuses to waste energy proving it. When you master silence, you don't just appear confident, you become untouchable. Peace is often mistaken for passivity, but in truth, peace is one of the most powerful weapons you can ever possess. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a declaration of mastery. When you carry peace within you, you hold the rare ability to remain unshaken in a world that thrives on chaos. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the strength to stay calm and focused in the middle of them. It's the armor that shields your mind when life attacks from all sides. It's the invisible force that turns obstacles into lessons, enemies into teachers, and pain into power. Peace gives you the upper hand in every battle life presents. Because when everyone else loses control, the peaceful person keeps clarity. When others panic, the peaceful one observes. When others rush to react, the peaceful one waits to respond. That stillness, that calm confidence allows you to see what others can't. Peace gives you perspective. It slows down the noise of fear and allows you to hear the quiet voice of wisdom. And that wisdom becomes your greatest advantage. In any conflict, whether it's an argument, a setback, a challenge, peace disarms chaos. People expect anger for anger, energy for energy, noise for noise. But when you respond with peace, you shift the energy completely. You remove fuel from the fire. You choose to stay composed, and in doing so, you take control. Peace doesn't mean you're avoiding confrontation. It means you're mastering it. Because the one who stays peaceful holds the power to choose how far the conflict goes. Peace also protects your energy. Every day, you encounter situations that try to steal it: criticism, negativity, uncertainty, failure. But peace acts as a shield. It doesn't let small things break your focus. It keeps your emotions steady so you can keep moving forward. Without peace, every challenge feels heavier, every word cuts deeper, every delay feels longer. But with peace, you start to see things as temporary. You learn to let go faster, forgive easier, and stay centered no matter what. Peace isn't something you wait to find when everything is perfect. It's something you create when everything isn't. It's an inner state that comes from discipline and faith. It's the decision to trust yourself, to trust the process, and to trust that you can handle whatever comes next. When you cultivate peace within, you become like a mountain. Storms may shake the surface, but the core remains unmoved. That kind of stability makes you unstoppable. There's real strength in being calm when the world expects you to explode. It confuses people who are used to chaos. It silences those who expect drama. It changes the environment around you because your peace influences others more than their noise influences you. People can't argue for long with someone who refuses to fight. They can't manipulate someone who stays centered. They can't drain someone who guards their peace like a treasure. That's why peace is a weapon. It wins without violence. It leads without shouting. It conquers without destruction. The greatest leaders and thinkers throughout history understood this truth. They knew that power isn't in control over others, but in control over oneself. The warrior who fights with peace in his heart fights with focus and purpose. The thinker who sits in silence creates clarity. The individual who stays peaceful in chaos is already halfway to victory because they haven't lost themselves. Peace also enhances your creativity and intuition. When the mind is calm, ideas flow. When emotions settle, solutions appear. Anxiety clouds judgment, but peace clears it. That's why some of your best decisions come when you're still, when you stop overthinking and start trusting. Peace aligns you with what matters most, reminding you that no storm lasts forever and no pain is permanent. But peace requires practice. You can't gain it once and expect it to stay. It's something you must protect daily. You protect it by choosing not to argue over small things. You protect it by letting go of grudges. You protect it by walking away from drama, gossip, and negativity. You protect it by reminding yourself that not every battle deserves your energy. Peace is a weapon, yes, but it's also a responsibility, because once you have it, you must guard it fiercely. When you live with peace, you no longer chase control. You embody it. You stop letting people's moods dictate your emotions. You stop letting situations decide your worth. You learn that true strength isn't in shouting louder, but in remaining calm when others can't. The peaceful person doesn't always win every argument, but they win every moment, because they keep their mind clear, their heart light, and their spirit free. So, let your peace become your weapon. Use it not to attack, but to protect. Use it not to dominate others, but to master yourself. In a world that wants you angry, stay calm. In a world that wants you reactive, stay centered. Your peace will speak louder than your anger ever could. It will guide you, ground you, and guard you. And one day you'll realize peace wasn't just your shield, it was your greatest source of power all along. Detachment is one of the highest forms of inner strength a person can develop. It is not coldness, indifference, or lack of care. It is wisdom in motion. Detachment means being fully present in life while refusing to be enslaved by it. It means you can love deeply without losing yourself, work passionately without being destroyed by failure, and pursue dreams without being shattered by delay. Detachment is not about running away from the world. It's about standing in the middle of it with calm confidence, untouched by its constant noise. Most people live in emotional bondage. They're attached to outcomes, opinions, people, and possessions. They build their peace on fragile foundations, on what others think, on what they own, on how life goes. When those things change, and they always do, their peace collapses. Detachment frees you from that trap. It teaches you to experience life without clinging to it, to give your best but not let the result define you, to care without depending, to love without losing balance. It is a mindset that allows you to move through life lightly, calmly, and with dignity. When you practice detachment, you begin to see things as they are, not as your emotions paint them to be. You realize that not everything is worth your energy. You stop trying to control what you can't. You stop forcing outcomes that aren't ready. You stop chasing validation that doesn't matter. Detachment doesn't make you careless. It makes you careful about where you invest your care. It helps you recognize the difference between control and influence. You can influence your effort, but not the result. You can control your actions, but not other people's reactions. Once you understand this, peace follows naturally. Detachment is mastery because it gives you clarity. When you're emotionally attached, your vision becomes clouded by fear, desire, and expectation. You can't think clearly because your peace depends on how things turn out. But when you detach, you see the truth of every situation. You understand that nothing external can define your worth. You begin to act out of choice, not desperation. That is the essence of freedom, to be able to engage deeply but stay centered no matter the outcome. People often think that to succeed, you must hold on tightly. But the opposite is true. When you hold too tightly, you create resistance, you block flow. You worry, you doubt, you suffocate your own progress. Detachment, on the other hand, opens space. It allows things to unfold naturally. It allows success to arrive without the weight of fear. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You still give your best, but you're at peace whether it succeeds or not, because your sense of worth doesn't depend on it. Detachment also strengthens relationships. Most pain in relationships comes from attachment, expecting others to behave the way we want, to love us the way we imagine, to never disappoint us. But people are human, they change, grow, and make mistakes. Detachment teaches you to love without ownership, to give space, to allow others to be who they are. It turns relationships into mutual journeys, not prisons of expectation. You start to love more freely because you're no longer afraid of loss. You understand that what is meant for you will stay, and what isn't will teach you. True detachment doesn't remove emotion. It refines it. It doesn't make you heartless. It makes you whole. It transforms your reactions. Instead of anger, you find acceptance. Instead of panic, patience. Instead of control, calm. The detached person is not empty, they're full of peace, because they've realized that no external circumstance can truly touch their inner being unless they allow it to. Detachment also protects your focus. When you're attached to every small outcome, your energy gets scattered. You overthink, overreact, and exhaust yourself. But when you detach, your mind becomes still. You start to move with precision. You stop fighting everything and begin to flow with life instead of against it. That's when things start working in your favor. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer demand, you allow. Because you're not acting from need, you're acting from peace. It takes courage to be detached in a world that tells you to obsess over everything. But once you learn this art, you become unshakable. No criticism can wound you deeply. No failure can break you completely. No success can blind you with pride. You live in balance. You appreciate everything but depend on nothing. You engage with life but are owned by nothing. That's what mastery looks like. Not control over the world, but control over yourself. So practice detachment daily. When something upsets you, remind yourself this moment is temporary. When someone disappoints you, remember their actions are about them, not you. When life delays you, trust that timing has its purpose. Let go, breathe, and allow things to be. Because the more you release, the lighter you become. And the lighter you become, the higher you rise. Detachment is not an escape, it's empowerment. It's knowing that no matter what changes outside, your peace remains steady inside. And that kind of peace, that unbothered state of being, is the ultimate form of mastery. There's a thin but powerful line between reacting and responding. On one side lies chaos, impulsiveness, and regret. On the other lies wisdom, control, and strength. To react is human. To respond is powerful. Most people live their lives reacting to everything. What others say, what circumstances bring, what emotions arise. But those who learn to pause, think, and respond consciously become masters of their emotions, not slaves to them. The difference may seem small, but it changes everything. It decides whether you grow or break, whether you lead or follow, whether you live with peace or conflict. When you react, you give your power away. Someone offends you and you immediately strike back. Something goes wrong and you instantly panic. You hear bad news and your emotions spiral. In that moment, the world controls you. You are no longer the driver. You've handed the steering wheel of your life to external forces. But when you respond, you take that power back. You give yourself a brief pause, a sacred moment to think, breathe, and choose your next step. That pause is where maturity lies. It's where strength is built. It's where you move from impulse to intelligence. Response is intentional. When you react, you operate from the lower self, the one ruled by pride, fear, anger, and insecurity. When you respond, you operate from the higher self, the one guided by awareness, purpose, and wisdom. Reaction wants to win the moment. Response wants to win the outcome. Reaction is about proving something. Response is about improving something. Reaction is noise. Response is clarity. The ability to respond calmly, even under pressure, is a sign of deep inner power. It shows that you're not controlled by temporary emotions. You've learned to master the storm within before trying to handle the storm outside. Think about how different life would feel if you stopped reacting to every trigger. If you stopped letting one rude comment ruin your day. One failure destroy your focus. One delay shake your patience. The truth is, most pain in life doesn't come from what happens. It comes from how we respond to what happens. Reacting is easy. Responding is a discipline. It takes awareness to stop yourself when emotions rise. It takes control to hold your words when anger pushes to speak. It takes wisdom to understand that silence is sometimes the loudest response. But every time you do that, every time you choose response over reaction, you strengthen your emotional muscles. You grow calmer, wiser, and more centered. You stop being at the mercy of your environment and start leading your own energy. Responding doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means guiding it. It means acknowledging your feelings but not letting them decide your behavior. When something frustrates you, responding means asking, what's the best way forward? Instead of, how do I get even? When someone criticizes you, responding means listening for truth rather than reacting with pride. When life throws a challenge, responding means looking for lessons instead of complaining about problems. It's a mindset that transforms every challenge into an opportunity to grow. Great leaders, thinkers, and successful individuals all share this trait. They don't react emotionally, they respond intelligently. When others lose control, they stay calm. When situations turn chaotic, they remain composed because they understand that emotional balance is strength. A reactive person might win an argument, but a responsive person wins respect. A reactive person might release stress, but a responsive person builds influence. People trust those who can stay calm when everyone else panics. That calmness is what separates amateurs from masters, followers from leaders. Reacting often leads to regret. How many times have you said something in anger, only to wish you could take it back? How many times have you made a decision out of fear and later realized it was the wrong one? Those moments teach us that reaction is costly. It steals your peace and often creates more damage than the original problem. But when you respond, when you take a breath and choose your action with awareness, you build a future free from unnecessary regret. You make choices that serve your purpose, not your emotion. Responding gives you control in a world that constantly tries to provoke you. Every day, something will try to push your buttons: a rude comment, a delay, a disappointment, a failure. You can't stop those things, but you can control how you meet them. The calm response you choose becomes your shield. It protects your peace, your relationships, your focus. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. So the next time life tests you, pause before you speak. Breathe before you decide. Think before you act. That one small moment of awareness can save you from hours, days, or even years of regrets. In that pause that you prove your strength. You show that you are not a prisoner of circumstance. You are a master of yourself. To respond instead of react is to live consciously. It's to walk through life with awareness instead of impulse. It's to replace anger with understanding, fear with faith, and noise with clarity. The person who learns to respond instead of react cannot be easily controlled, shaken, or defeated. Because while everyone else is busy reacting to the world, they are calmly creating their own. There comes a point in life when you realize that the greatest power you can ever have is to be unbothered. Not cold, not careless, but calm, grounded, and untouchable by negativity. Being unbothered doesn't mean you don't care about life. It means you care so much about your peace that you refuse to let anything steal it. It's not indifference. It's maturity. It's the understanding that your energy is too valuable to waste on things, people, and situations that do not help you grow. When you learn to be unbothered, you become unstoppable. Because nothing outside of you can control what happens inside of you. The world is full of noise, chaos, opinions, and distractions. Everyone has something to say, something to prove, something to criticize. If you let every opinion touch you, every insult hurt you, and every failure break you, you'll spend your life reacting instead of living. But when you become unbothered, you take back your peace. You learn that not everything deserves your attention, not everyone deserves a response, and not every situation deserves your energy. You learn to walk away with grace instead of arguing with emotion. You understand that silence often says more than 1,000 words. Being unbothered is the art of choosing peace over drama, purpose over distraction, and growth over reaction. It's the decision to remain steady no matter how loud the world gets. When someone talks about you, you stay calm. When life delays you, you stay patient. When people try to test you, you smile and rise above. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. You've reached a level where you understand that the best revenge is not anger, it's elevation. You win not by reacting, but by progressing so far that the noise becomes irrelevant. An unbothered person is dangerous to negativity. You can't manipulate someone who doesn't need your approval. You can't control someone who doesn't crave attention. You can't hurt someone who has learned to find peace within. When you reach this level, you stop chasing validation and start protecting your vibration. You begin to realize that your energy is a currency, and you spend it only on what matters. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You stop seeking closure from those who never valued honesty. You simply live in alignment with your truth, and that truth becomes your shield. Being unbothered is not laziness or detachment from responsibility. It's emotional discipline. It means you have trained your mind to stay focused on your goals and not get distracted by temporary noise. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to walk away. It's understanding that not every reaction deserves your fire and not every battle deserves your sword. You begin to see that peace is more powerful than anger. Patience is louder than rage. And silence often wins louder than shouting ever could. Life will always test your calm. There will always be people who doubt you, criticize you, or try to bring you down. But when you're unbothered, you see these things as background noise. You stop taking things personally because you realize that most people's actions are reflections of their own inner storms, not your worth. You learn to say, "That's not about me," and move forward. That simple mindset shift saves you from countless unnecessary struggles. It keeps your energy pure and your focus sharp. Being unbothered doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you process it privately and rise above it publicly. It means you cry when you need to, but you don't let the world see you broken. You handle your emotions with grace, not reaction. You use pain as fuel, not as a prison. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every insult becomes motivation. Every closed door becomes redirection. You stop fighting for attention and start working for elevation. The truth is, being unbothered makes you magnetic. People start to notice your calm energy. They can sense your confidence. You walk differently because you're not trying to prove anything, you simply are. You smile more, you stress less, and you stop trying to control everything. You realize that peace is power, and that no one can take it unless you hand it to them. That realization changes everything. To be unbothered is to know your worth so deeply that nothing outside of you can shake it. It's to live with such clarity that no rumor, no rejection, no failure can stop your movement. You move with quiet assurance, knowing that life always aligns with those who stay calm through chaos. You become unstoppable not because everything goes your way, but because nothing can take you off your path. So stay unbothered. Let people talk, let circumstances test you, let challenges come. Stay still, stay focused, stay at peace. Your calm will confuse the world, your consistency will silence doubt, and your growth will answer every critic. The one who remains unbothered in a world of emotional storms is not avoiding life, they've mastered it. Because once nothing outside you can disturb your inner world, you become truly free. And that freedom, that unshakable peace is what makes you unstoppable.